Hi, I'm Steven Horne, a professional herbalist and member of the American Herbalist Guild, and I want to talk to you today about the roots of good health, which actually lie in our intestinal tract. Similar to the roots of a plant, which absorb water and nutrients from the soil in order to get the plant the food it needs to stay alive and function, our intestinal tract is like our roots. That's where we absorb the water and nutrients that we need in order to keep ourselves healthy. So it's a very, very important system for overall health, and one that is actually kind of overlooked as a major leading cause of illness. But many natural healers realize that a healthy gastrointestinal tract is one of the very, very critical keys to having good overall health. The intestinal tract functions include breaking down the nutrients. Now, the upper GI tract, which consists of the stomach and then the duodenum, where the pancreatic enzymes and bile salts are secreted on the food, initiates the process of digestion, but the final process of digestion takes place in the small intestines. And there are additional enzymes secreted by the small intestines which actually help to finish the digestive process. Of course, absorption of nutrients also takes place primarily in the small intestines, which are covered with tiny hair-like projections called microvilli to increase the surface area. But the intestinal tract also acts as our first line of immune defense against pathogens. The primary way that pathogens and toxins can get into our body is through our gastrointestinal tract. So a large part of our immune system is centered in this system of the body, which therefore means that it plays a huge role in protecting us against infectious disease. Finally, the intestinal tract also includes the process of eliminating the residue of the food that is not needed, or the waste material from the body, which is also part of its function. The small intestines sort of sit in the middle of your abdomen, right under your belly button. And as I mentioned, they're the primary source of the area where you finish digesting nutrients and absorb them. In between the small intestines and the colon, or the large intestine, is a little valve called the ileocecal valve, which is in the bottom part of the large intestine, called the cecum. The ileocecal valve prevents backwash of material from the colon from coming back into the small intestines. Right next to the cecum is a little organ called the appendix, which is part of your immune system and actually helps to prevent infection in your gastrointestinal tract. The colon consists of several parts. The cecum, which I mentioned, which is not labeled on the anatomy slide I have here, but then you have that going up into the ascending colon, and then it goes around a little turn, comes across the top of your abdomen with the transverse colon, then it comes down the left side of your abdomen and the descending colon, then makes a turn in the sigmoid colon, goes into the rectum where elimination takes place. So, healthy elimination. What does this look like? Okay, this is not the best conversation, but it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. A lot of people don't really know what a healthy stool looks like. And the first thing is that a healthy elimination is typically 2 to 3 times per day, depending on the number of meals eaten. Now, I know some people would argue with that, but most animals and little babies and everything have more than one bowel movement per day, because if you think of the process of digestion as kind of a 3-part process. You have the part that takes place in the stomach, then the part that takes place in the small intestines, and then the part that takes place in the colon, and then things are eliminated. Theoretically, we should have one meal in our stomach, when that empties into the small intestine, and then that empties into the colon, and then the waste is eliminated. So by the time that you're ready to eat a third meal, the first meal should have been eliminated from the body, which means that normal colon transit time should be less than 24 hours. In other words, from the time you eat the food to the time that it leaves the body. So if you're eating several meals a day, that would mean that the residue of several meals would be eliminated during the day. Anything less than once a day is definitely a form of constipation or sluggish elimination. It should not be difficult to eliminate. There shouldn't be straining. There shouldn't be, you shouldn't have to push real hard, etc. Those are signs that there are problems in the GI tract. The stool should come out in long banana-like pieces, about the width of your index and middle finger put together. That's about the size of what your colon is. If it's getting bigger than that, then things are sitting in there too long and they're stretching out your colon and causing it to balloon a little bit. Also, it should pass in those long pieces because that's basically how the stool forms. If it's coming out in little hard balls, you're dehydrated, you're not getting enough water, and also things are not moving through the system quickly enough. If it comes out loose, then things may be moving through too quickly, or there may be other problems. It shouldn't have a really foul odor. A really foul odor is a sign of a lot of fermentation and decomposition taking place in your digestive tract, and that's actually not normal or healthy. The stool should be solid, but it should break up slightly on flushing, meaning it shouldn't be so solid that it's like a rock, like it's just a clump of stuff. If it's too loose that it just breaks up completely, you're getting on the side of diarrhea. If it's too tight, too dense, it's more a side of constipation. As I mentioned, the transit time should be less than 24 hours, ideally around 16 to 18 hours, and stool should neither float like corks nor sink like stones. If the stool is floating on top of the water and kind of has a little bit of sheen, it's a sign that you're not digesting fats very well. If it sinks like a rock, it's probably a sign that you don't have enough fiber in your diet, or there are imbalances in the friendly flora of your gastrointestinal tract. The intestinal system actually functions as a part of the nervous system, a part of the nervous system called the enteric nervous system, or the gut brain. The digestive tract can regulate digestion without the need for input from the brain. So whereas your heart rate and your breathing are regulated from your brain, your digestion is self-regulating. It contains within this both sensory and motor neurons. So basically the gastrointestinal tract can pick up information about what's in your digestive tract and adjust peristalsis and so forth. And there are a lot of neurotransmitters that are found in your brain that are also used in your gut. And these include dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine, nitric oxide, and norepinephrine. In fact, I think it's 90% of your serotonin receptors that are receptor sites for the neurotransmitter serotonin, which is involved in wakefulness and sleep and depression, are found in your intestinal tract, which indicates why many people are finding that our mood is largely influenced by the health of our GI tract. The GI tract communicates with the brain to provide feedback to the brain about our nutritional intake and our gut health. And so the gut brain talks to us with sensations like knot in our stomach or butterflies in our stomach or so forth, and therefore has an influence on our emotional state. The poor gut function can make us feel depressed. It can cause us to feel anxiety or irritability or so forth. So you can see why it's very important to maintain a healthy GI tract, not just for the health of our body, but also for the health of our mood and our emotions. One of the big issues with keeping a healthy GI tract is hydration. The body has to use a lot of water in the process of digestion. It has to basically dissolve the food substances in water, both to break them down and to assimilate them. At the end of the digestive process, the body wants to recycle that water, save as much of it as it can. And that's done in the colon, which absorbs the water along with some of the minerals that are present in that fluid and a few other vitamins and nutrients that are there. Almost all laxatives, pretty much, or at least all the ones that I've investigated, work by holding water in the colon. In other words, they cause the colon to keep more water. Anthraquinones, which are found in stimulant laxative herbs, inhibit absorption of water and electrolytes, thus causing the peristalsis to be stimulated for elimination. Adding electrolytes that can't be absorbed, like salts of magnesium, is another way that people produce laxative action, and that's just, again, holding more water in the colon. Or just fiber. The fiber in our diet helps to hold water in the intestinal tract to lubricate the stool and help it eliminate it. So water makes all other laxatives, especially fiber, work the way they're supposed to. If you want to have a healthy GI tract, you have to stay well hydrated. The general rule of thumb is to drink a half ounce of water per pound of body weight per day. I know that I don't know how that translates into metrics, but for most people, that's approximately 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. One of the things that is important for the intestinal tract is fiber. And I'm not talking about the coarse fiber like bran. I'm talking more about the soft, water-soluble fibers that are found in most fruits and vegetables. These fibers basically absorb water, and they help to lubricate the stool. They reduce the colon transit time, meaning that they make it so that things move through the gastrointestinal tract more quickly. They also absorb toxins from the colon, and also bile salts being secreted by the liver, and that can help to reduce cholesterol as well as keep chemicals that the liver is trying to get rid of from being reabsorbed. And they also promote the growth of friendly intestinal bacteria or microflora, which are part of our immune system. So particular kinds of fiber called fructooligosaccharides in particular are very, very beneficial for helping to maintain a healthy gut flora. And dysbiosis of the gastrointestinal tract is a major problem, underlying problem of many health issues. Enzymes are very important for the health of the intestinal tract. Now, obviously, they're a part of the digestive process, and if people happen to be deficient in enzymes or hydrochloric acid or so forth, then that is going to create problems downstream. But enzyme supplements can actually help to heal and repair the intestinal tract, both by helping to break down nutrients better, but also to help improve absorption of nutrients and also help break down toxins, as well as the fact that enzyme supplements have a mild laxative action and may even help get rid of infections and parasites if you take them between meals when they're not digesting food, but instead they're breaking down the material that parasites and infections feed on, and possibly even to some extent digesting the microbes or parasites themselves. We live in a world that has become largely germ-phobic. We think that our health depends on trying to keep everything absolutely sterile and sanitary and so forth, and so we're obsessed with the idea of killing germs. I don't say that we shouldn't have sanitation. We obviously need sanitation, washing our hands after going to the bathroom, keeping our homes relatively clean. But it is not necessary or even beneficial to go around constantly disinfecting everything and trying to kill microbes. Because if we were to succeed in killing all the microbes in the world, we would kill everything else on this planet, including ourselves. Microbes play a huge role in numerous things, both in the environment and in our own bodies. One of the interesting developments that more and more research is coming out is about the microbiome or the friendly flora, the gastrointestinal organisms that live in our gut. We have several pounds of them, and there are thousands of species of them that live in a symbiotic relationship with us. And The presence of these gut flora play numerous roles in our health, both in terms of protecting us against infection, helping our bodies to break down nutrients, protecting us against environmental toxins, and so forth. And so we need these friendly microbes. They create something called a biofilm, which is basically a coating that lines the intestinal tract that forms a protective barrier. And killing off these friendly bacteria, which is what happens with a lot of things like antibiotics, um, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, birth control pills, chemotherapy, etc., and also some of the environmental toxins we're being exposed to, like the glycophosphates that are commonly being used as weed killers. These are disrupting our friendly flora and also disrupting the function of our intestinal tract and immune system. One of the things that can be very helpful for rebuilding the health of the gastrointestinal tract is probiotics. Probiotics are supplements that contain various species of friendly flora, and by eating them, we can help to replenish these friendly bacteria and help them reestablish that friendly bacteria. You can use both probiotic supplements, and you can also eat naturally fermented foods. This includes naturally fermented dairy products like yogurt and kefir, and also naturally fermented vegetables like sauerkraut and naturally fermented pickles and other fermented foods. Most cultures that ate a lot of cooked foods also ate a lot of fermented foods. Now, one of the things that many of us has found is that periodically doing what we call a colon cleanse, that is doing something to kind of like clean out our gastrointestinal tract, improve the colon transit time, and basically uh, kind of help to clear out anything that's been moving too through slowly, and also healing the intestinal membranes through various herbs can be beneficial for a wide variety of health problems. Colon cleansing is not the answer to everything, but there are some indications of things that would be good signs that you might need to do a colon cleanse. One of them is having a strong body or foot odor or bad breath. Another one is a heavily coated tongue, especially at the back of the tongue, which is the area that represents the gastrointestinal tract. Having very heavy, depressed, gloomy feelings and a generally low energy level. Having fluid retention, kind of a bloaty, stuffy, uh, puffy feeling in your abdomen area. Chronic sinus and respiratory congestion, because there is a correlation between the mucous membranes of your gastrointestinal tract and the mucous membranes of your respiratory passages. And then just kind of general aches and pains, chronic inflammation, and frequent headaches. So we'll talk about some of the supplements you can use to do a colon cleanse. But right now, let's look at the lifestyle analysis questions that basically pertain to a need to work with the colon. And we have here some of the ones I already mentioned: body odor, bad breath, eating a diet that's very heavy in red meat, especially if you don't have good digestive enzymes, can contribute to a need to cleanse the colon. Problems with the monthly menstrual cycle with women often indicate a need for this. Alcohol consumption, skin problems, consuming a lot of dairy products, especially if they're not fermented, feeling low or apathetic, having high fat or high cholesterol diet, or just poor eating habits, general poor health, irregular, infrequent bowel activity, not getting enough fiber in your diet, having food or chemical sensitivities, problems with yeast or fungus, muscle joint discomfort or weakness, feeling easily irritated or angered, lack of exercise, and problems with congestion and mucus. All of these are, the more of these you have, the more it might indicate a need that you need to work with the intestinal tract. Now, as with many other systems, it helps to kind of differentiate what the terrain of the digestive tract is. And I use a system of hot, cold, damp, and dry, and in this case add the other two tissue terrains we talk about, tension and relaxation. If you have irritation, pain, and a rapid colon transit time, then you have heat in the digestive tract. You need to cool things down. If you have very sluggish elimination with a long transit time, you have more of a cold condition in your gastrointestinal tract. One way to determine that, if you have what your colon transit time is to eat a meal of something that actually colors your stool. And one of the best things to do is to eat red beets. And then watch how long it takes for the red color to show up in your stool. If you have really good colon transit time, that red color of your stool should show up in a little less than 24 hours and should disappear in a little more than 24 hours. If you have a longer colon transit time, you may not see the red appear in your stool for 2 or 3 days, and it may even be a third or fourth day before it disappears. That's a sign that you're having a sluggish movement through your GI tract, and that tends to create autointoxication. Bloating, gassy, stuffiness, and a looser stool are all indications of dampness. Dryness, which is the lack of moisture in the stool. You have hard, dry stool with very sluggish and often infrequent elimination. Cramping is a sign of tension, and relaxation would be indicated with a watery stool, one that doesn't have any form to it at all. What we think of as watery diarrhea. So let's look at the key system product for this system, and it's called Bowel Build. And Bowel Build is designed to have just a general kind of cleansing and also toning effect on the intestinal system. For one thing, it contains enzymes and hydrochloric acid, which help to break down food substances. It also contains some fiber and some charcoal to help to improve colon transit time, to absorb irritating substances and so forth. It contains a little bit of laxative action to help encourage peristalsis so that the things move through the gastrointestinal tract more quickly. And it also contains some vitamins and minerals that help to support the innate immune system, which is part of our intestinal tract. So it's a good all-round product, primarily aimed at kind of a cold and damp or cold and dry GI tract function. In other words, sluggishness of the GI tract along with either dampness or dryness. Now, if there's dryness and you're taking Bowel Build, you really have to increase the amount of water you're taking, and it's a good idea anytime you're taking something like Bowel Build to increase the amount of water you're taking, because remember, the fiber works by absorbing water and helping to hold more water in the colon so that it encourages peristalsis. So be sure to take this product with a good glass or two of water. Some other products that can be very helpful for the GI tract include aloe vera juice. Now, this is a good cooling remedy when you've got heat or irritation in the GI tract that's causing things like diarrhea or really rapid colon transit time, or maybe even some inflammation in the gastrointestinal tract. Aloe vera juice is very soothing, cooling, and it also promotes healing of the tissues. Black walnut is a really good one for a problem that we call leaky gut. If you get an overgrowth of small bacteria in the small intestines, or you get intestinal inflammation, the junctions, the gaps between the cells in the intestinal wall can open up, allowing stuff to pass out of your digestive tract into your bloodstream that shouldn't be. Black walnut is one of the remedies that tone up the intestinal tract and help to eliminate that problem. Black walnut is also mildly antiparasitic and can help get rid of some forms of parasites and infection. Low clo, I'm going to cover three things here all together. Low clo, psyllium hulls, slippery elm, and I guess I'll also mention TNT. These are all sources of dietary fiber. Fiber, again, is a really good way to help improve the health of your GI tract, unless you have a really, really bad problem with small intestinal bacterial overgrowth in the upper part of your GI tract, in which case the fiber may make you feel bloated and gaseous, and you need to kind of clear that out a little bit before you will be able to tolerate the fiber. For most people, increasing their fiber intake every day, along with making sure they drink plenty of water, is kind of a basic thing to keep your gastrointestinal tract in good shape. Fiber is cooling, it's moistening, and it's lubricating. Licorice root, like aloe vera juice, is another really, really good remedy for cooling down irritation of the GI tract, and can help with help with more of the kind of the hot or irritated side of digestive problems. Magnesium is really important for elimination. Magnesium actually helps, along with vitamin C, to give a natural laxative or stimulating effect on the peristalsis of the colon. Many people who have constipation are dehydrated and aren't getting enough magnesium and vitamin C. And so increasing the amount of magnesium you're getting in your body, your vitamin C along with your water, and maybe some fiber can do a lot to improving your GI tract health. The Pro B11 is a probiotic supplement that you can take to help restore the friendly microflora of the GI tract, and that of course can boost your immune response and help protect your GI tract from all kinds of toxins, chemicals, and microbes as you develop a good, healthy, friendly flora in your GI tract. So I hope that you have gained some valuable insights into how to take care of your intestinal system today that will help you to help yourself and help others.